more than a year, the issues of racism and social justice have intensified. I'm Bill Anderson, and one recurring question that we continue to hear is, how do we have these controversial discussions with the people who will be most responsible for changing our future, our children? How do you talk to young people about issues of racism and social justice?
You can be a kid and still make things better. How could you make things better?
George Floyd!
There may not be an easy answer, but more and more people believe that if things are really going to change, we have to figure it out.
People from different generations speak. It's like they always say, you didn't do that back then, and I think it's like, this is now. That was then.
From pre-K students to teens.
I do think that people should be listening to the younger generation, because it's going to be soon enough that we are going to be the people who get to make the policies and get to make the change.
And bright futures.
Parents, educators, authors, and psychologists, we wanted to explore the methods and results that they've experienced.
First part is that for parents to realize that your son or daughter, your children, actually know more than you realize. And this is across the spectrum. Whatever the topic is, they're listening in or hearing or talking about these things.
Are kids ready to handle these discussions?
I don't want to scare kids, you know. We don't want to scare 4- and 5-year-olds, but, you know, just you being kind to somebody who's different, or just you inviting somebody to come over and play, they can handle that.
Think about.
Are we as adults clear on how to even have them?
It's long past time of discussing whether or not it should be talked about and whether or not change should be made. Change must be made. And again, as educators, it's our responsibility to push the conversation within our communities.
And what really needs to change as we come together and focus on shaping our future? Simply put, it's complicated trying to understand the root cause of issues like racism and social justice. And that's even before you start trying to break it down for children.
It's something that I think every parent across the country, across the world, should somehow be talking to your children about race, racism, differences, injustice. But for lots of families, sometimes we shy away from it.
But we have to start. If we wait as an educational institution until people all tell us that they are ready for the discussion, it's going to be way too late.
It's critical. It is so critical, Bill, to get children exposed to different people, different cultures, different experiences at an early age, so you can plant those foundational seeds so they can just grow and blossom and learn to be inclusive.
Dr. George James counsels families on various issues. Superintendent Joseph Maloche helps set policy in Cherry Hill. And author Talitha Vickers was so interested in providing inclusive examples to children that when she couldn't find books that did it, she created them. And all of their efforts are attempts to help parents empower their children in a world that more than ever needs us to come together.
The work with kids is so important because you're laying so many important groundworks of empathy and humanity and like raising a generation of kids who find it easier to have these conversations.
As parents, we have to teach empathy and teach them and encourage them to speak up and use their voice, because that's hard.
And as parents, recognize the need to educate and empower their children.
Find a place where there's a little space.
Educators like pre-K teacher Tuesday Van Story and Cherry Hill admin Farah Mann are helping provide the tools.
Even at 3, 4, and 5, you know what fair and unfair is. You know what kind and unkind is. You know that at 4 and 5, and that's why they get it.
Students recognize differences early on, and we need to be able to celebrate those differences and make sure that everyone feels accepted and included within our school community.
How early to engage children and teens in difficult racial and social justice discussions is something that many parents struggle with. But then you meet students like 12-year-old Ebele Ezekwe.
I wrote a letter to my principal just asking for change, and throughout that process, I ended up working with an organization called Rise Against Hate. I spoke at protest. I was a part of a law being passed, basically enforcing that Black education is a part of the curriculum.
Add in a group of teens from Friends Select School, and the significance, it just seems more clear.
I think we should definitely be listening to our younger generation.
instance, soon we will be the ones in power. We will be the ones who will change this society and the world, and I think that our voices should be valued more.
I remember my first encounter when I was extremely afraid of a cop. I was in 2nd grade. I was crying out. I was crying because I was afraid that something was going to happen to me. I would be like 8 or 9. If I can comprehend that situation, what is too young?
How do we talk and listen to our children?
Face your anxiety as a parent. Recognize you're overwhelmed, you don't know what you want to say, and that's fine. Then the next step is, yeah, go educate yourself. Go learn some more. Maybe you already know. Go reread something. Go figure something out, because being a model to our children is one of the biggest things that we can do.
When do we start having these discussions?
We have to force that discussion to take place. If we don't do it, then who is going to? And if not now, when? It is long past time to do it, so we must embrace it, and everyone must embrace that.
And are they even ready for them?
Anybody remember? Is it too early? Is kindness too early to discuss? Is fairness too early? Is the question of, well, what to do, what should we do when the rules are unfair? Is it too early at 4 and 5? In my opinion, absolutely not.
Kids start noticing things early, and as they do, you should be responsive to what they're asking you. 2-year-olds notice body parts, so you talk to them about their body parts. 4-year-olds notice skin color. And so when a 4-year-old brings that up, I find that it's appropriate to talk about it. They're bringing that up. They have a natural curiosity.
Let's explore and find some answers. The conversations are happening as early as 4 years old in some schools. Too soon, or the earlier the better? Let's go into the classroom, coming up. Now, how kids learn about issues like social and racial justice is a pretty controversial topic. Some believe that it's just too heavy of a topic for young children. Others believe that as young as pre-K, you have to start preparing them to be our future change agents.
Safety is important, kindness is important, taking turns, listening to each other, all those things. That's all part of what it is to build a community. If you're talking about skin, we all have skin. So that's how it all begins, and it really aligns really well with the social justice discussion. I want you to think about how people treat each other when they see someone that's different.
At Frankfurt Friends, the discussion about being a sensitive person in a diverse society, it starts really early.
That discussion starts right now, because these kids have to be empowered in their own lives, even now. Like if, oh, well, you can play, but you can't. That's a discussion that's happening now. It's a real life discussion happening in preschools everywhere. And so, no, it's not too early. So when she got to school, there are tons and tons and tons of people, lots of grown-ups, lots of people screaming at her and hollering at her.
Not too early is pre-kindergarten. So social and racial justice, it's being taught to 4 and 5-year-olds because for some, that's already their reality.
So for any of our students of color, it's not going to be something that they haven't heard. They don't like Ruby. They don't even know Ruby. They don't know her. But they decided they didn't like her. Why didn't they like her?
Because she was black.
Because of the color of her skin.
And for others, their parents and teachers, they believe they just need to be prepared.
Well, the first thing is that this is a Quaker school. It's a very special environment where equality and social justice, it's just part of the discussion. It's part of what we all do from pre-K all the way to 8th grade. So that's where I can start. Some African-American children, some white kids.
They allowed us to sit through one of the lessons so that parents who regularly ask how to address these issues with kids, they could see firsthand.
You don't have to be a grown-up to make a difference. You do not.
And as you observed these young minds taking on challenging issues, you could see that they do get the basic concepts.
And so they see, oh, this person was treated unkindly for this or that reason. Maybe you were treated unkindly because you were a girl. Maybe you were treated unkindly because your skin was brown. Maybe you were treated unkindly because you had a disability. We don't just talk about race. We essentially talk about fair and unfair. Bye, friends. And what to do when the rules are unfair and how people have done that.
And if this is an example of planting the seed in pre-K, then a Cherry Hill 12-year-old, She's an example of what you hope that seed grows into.
I think that some parents need to be open-minded and stuff like that, because at the end, a child won't be comfortable speaking to you. And I think that you're supposed to be that protector and you're supposed to shield them from the outside world, but eventually we're gonna have to step into it. And eventually you're gonna have to be okay.
Ebele Ezekwe was disturbed by what she viewed as a biased view of children of color.
The way that people of African American descent are seen as is completely different. We are people in the end of the day, that just so happen to be from different continents. During this heartbreaking time with the virus and protests, I've had time to dwell over a lot.
She wrote a letter to her principal. That letter made its way to the administration.
So we started to have even more in-depth conversations with students, which is so critically important. And they are challenging, but the hardest part for us as adults is to sit and to listen and to truly hear what they are saying. And I always tell people, when you ask students and when you offer to listen to them, you have to be ready to act on what they ask.
And now, as a result, Cherry Hill high schoolers now have a class on Black history as a requirement for graduation, and it was largely inspired by a 12-year-old who decided to use her voice.
And our students are asking us to provide a curriculum and a course for them that sees and views African Americans and people of color from a positive perspective, not from a deficit and marginalized perspective. They want to see excellence within their culture.
But on top of that, I want to tell them that this is their life and that it's not going to get better just by thinking that it should. It needs to get better by taking action. And I think that, I hope that I can inspire at least some people to do so.
Next.
You said if you're going to go out and you're going to try and make change in your communities, you have to be able to realize that you're going to make mistakes sometimes and know how to properly handle those mistakes.
They're inspiring change in pre-K and elementary school, and the hope is that by high school, they're ready to take on shaping our future. Shaping our future through the eyes of young people, as you've seen, can be a really complicated process. But if it's done correctly, by the time they reach high school, they're ready to take on the challenge of being our future leaders.
You all are pretty advanced in your thinking around these topics to be high school students. Do you think most adults understand this conversation at this level?
That, in a nutshell, is the million-dollar question when we discuss our future leaders in social and racial justice. On this day, teacher, filmmaker, and activist Andre Lee facilitated a discussion with Friends Select high schoolers, and we listened in.
I think it's important to make sure when you're fighting against racism, why you're doing it. Are you doing it to benefit yourself socially, or are you doing it because you genuinely care? If we have more people who genuinely care and they can see the difference between being anti-racist and not being racist, then we can fight systemic racism. We can solve the issues facing our society.
They're 15, 16, and 17, but not only willing, but eager to discuss and even lead on the topics that often divide us.
What do you say to adults that are afraid to have this talk?
How could you be afraid about something that's like affecting us all positively? You should not be afraid of that. Change can be weird sometimes. At the same time, it makes a greater cause, so you might as well get used to it.
I sympathize with people who interact with young kids a lot because it can be hard to break that innocence, but for kids that do experience oppression, that innocence is going to be broken sooner than you want it to be, no matter what. So it's important to give them the tools that they need to survive and to thrive, and give other kids who don't experience oppression the tools they need in order to be there for their friends.
They've been invited into social justice and racism debates for years, so they push back hard against those who think that kids just can't handle it.
I think too young is when you can't talk. I think if you can comprehend anything, then you can comprehend racism. It might have to be explained to you differently. You might have to explain it to other people differently.
If a kid is young enough to have to go to school and deal with people touching their hair or deal with people pulling their eyes back, then we're young enough to sit around and have a conversation about boundaries and what's okay and what's not okay and how to just be a generally decent human being.
As an adult saying I shouldn't talk to a child about race or racism because it's too scary, I say, well, do you talk to them about fire? And they say, yeah. So why are you talking about fire? Because fire is dangerous. So isn't race and racism dangerous?
And for those of us well beyond our teen years, the openness and willingness to be vulnerable at such a young age, that's encouraging.
Part of being anti-racist especially if you're white, is recognizing that you're gonna make mistakes sometimes, and sometimes you're gonna say things that are wrong, and you're gonna mess up. You're gonna say things that are racist. If you just say that you're not racist, like, oh, I don't see color, then you're not really acknowledging that it's possible that you'll mess up.
Be the people that are gonna be able to change the policies. And like, once those people that had those ignorant mindsets are out of the way, then more people will try to come together as one. It may not be like full-on unity, like in the near future, but I feel as though it will be close to a time where we'll all, see eye to eye.
And maybe the most encouraging aspect of these young people is that they're learning to address real issues without losing hope.
But I think the fact that our generation is becoming more aware about race, and we're having more discussions about race, which makes it, at least for me, more hopeful for our future, that when we are the people who get to make change, we'll be the people to, I guess, make policies that change how we live our everyday lives.
I think it can be embarrassing to realize that you're benefiting from institutions such as systemic racism, and a lot of times people feel as though, if I'm benefiting from this, does that make me a bad person? Not necessarily. And being able to separate your morals from where you are in society and how society affects you is crucial to do this work.
And they're committed to doing what it takes to participate in shaping our future.
Try and meet people on their terms, but don't back down on what you know is right and what seems important in the conversation.
Now, preparing young people to change the world, as you've seen, can take on many forms. So let's take another look at how everyone is prepared to shape our future.
Children are so exposed to so much at a young age, and the earlier you can expose them to people of different colors and backgrounds and family dynamics, the better off we will be, the better citizens, global citizens we will have.
For author Talitha Vickers, shaping our future comes through her children's book.
Don't just buy the books that look like you, buy the books that look like other people, so that can also raise questions and say, oh, look at this person, look at that person, look at that character. Wow, that is a Black superhero.
And she believes as children see, they believe.
Children know all about dinosaurs. They know all about princesses. They know all about, fairy tales, right? Because we teach them, because they're exposed to it. So how about we expose children to diversity?
But books are just one tool to start the conversation early and initiate change.
Talk about what are some of your values, and as they get older, maybe 7, 6, 7, 8, that you are starting to have real conversations with them. As they get into their teenage years, you're going way in depth. You're being real and honest with them. Not that you wouldn't be honest before, but you can share more as they're into those double digits.
When students tell us what they need and what they want, we have to be willing to listen and then to take action, because action is the next step in making change, and we need to make change within our organizational structure.
We may not see it initially, but today's youth are more ready than we think.
Particularly with my oldest child, she's 9, and so she watches the news and she listens in the car. And so when things happen, she's very curious and she'll ask questions.
These students are more than just activists. They are truly advocates for themselves and their peers.
Give them the confidence to use their voice to make change.
And the future will continue to move in the right direction. Now, as we've seen, if we want young people to step up and take on the challenges of racism and social justice, then we collectively as adults have to prepare them. I'm Bill Anderson, and on behalf of everyone who participated and produced this special, thanks so much for watching, and have a good one.